welcome to this week's episode. It's a solo episode this week with yours truly, Louise, your host. And I have a couple of things that I'd like to discuss, chat about, just get off my chest, I guess, this week. And really, I didn't get to update you last time. It's been a long time since I've done a solo episode. I took a long break because many of you know that I got married and Steve and I had such a lovely day. We got married in Portugal. It was a very small wedding and just the closest people in our life. And we spent 5 nights over in Portugal enjoying the sun. It was very hot. It was over 30 degrees, 32 around that. So by the end of the night, I was glad to get the wedding dress off, let's just say. But it was really, really special. And anybody who's listened from the beginning or even read the book will know how much Steve has supported me through all of my pet loss journey. He's been there. So it was a really special day for us, and we just had a magical time, really. Emotional, happy, joyful, all of the things after everything that we've both gone through together in the 5.5 years that we've been together. And I think it's so special that we got to do that in such a beautiful place and in a beautiful way. I might share a couple of pictures on Instagram, but I'm still conscious of keeping that like very special and private between both Steve and I. So maybe a little snippet for anybody who's kind of been a long-standing listener who would like to be interested in having a little look to see what we looked like on the day. And yeah, so really it's been 2 weeks since the wedding, and I have been busy since I've come back. Took a little break from social media, obviously a longer break from the podcast because I didn't have my equipment with me and everything else, but really it's been a busy couple of weeks. I've had lots of client sessions, a couple of regular clients, a couple of new clients, and it's really been busy but positive, and working hard to put out new content, spread awareness, just keep going with this kind of mission that I'm on. And really want to say a huge, massive thank you to everybody who has purchased the book, The Pet Loss Journals, and I'm overwhelmed by the reviews, by the messages, by the emails, and it's been incredible. It's been such a whirlwind, and trying to get the book finished before the wedding, interviewing guests for the podcast and so on, and everything all mixed up together. But it was such an amazing experience. And if any of you listening has a story that they want to share with the world, you can self-publish your book. It's so doable. I learned how to do it. If anybody is interested at all in sharing their story, whether it's about pet loss or not about pet loss, you can email me. It's my email to get in contact with me, and will always be in the show notes underneath the episode. But it's an incredible thing to do, to publish your own book, and I think it's very underrated, so I want everybody to do it. I'd love everyone to give it a go, because I am not anything special. I do not have the most, amazing, like, sometimes I can't find the words, just like right now, but I think it's important to share your story in whatever way that you can. So, i.e. this podcast, the book, speaking on Instagram, whatever that is. So just get out there and share what you're passionate about. Share something that's changed your life and that's impacted your life and how you've come through it. So yeah, just a little pep talk from Louise to you today. But Anyway, that's enough of me blabbing. This week I'd love to focus on a topic that I actually did a post on Instagram about last week, and it's about myth or fact. And it was about, is this a myth or a fact? A new pet can heal your heart after loss. Is it true for everybody? So I wrote in the caption of this post that this is a little controversial, and I know a couple of people asked me, why is it controversial? Well, there's just that generalised opinion or thought that bringing a new pet in fairly quickly after your original pet has died can just like heal everything. But I'm not of the... I'm swaying towards... I'm not, don't get me wrong. My opinion on this matter, on this topic, is I think that bringing a new pet into your life is incredible, but the timing has to be right. So, like, I'm not for or against it. I am a little bit against doing it straight away, though. So I feel that the timing has to be right. And I shared in the caption that it's been 5.5 years since my dogs died, and I haven't adopted or brought a new pet into my life. I have fostered, as you all would have known from listening to the podcast. We foster greyhounds occasionally, and that's what I feel ready for in my life right now. And I've done a lot of processing of my grief, and that's still okay. And due to lifestyle choices, due to lots of different decisions, I'm not in that space in my life where I want to adopt or bring a pet into my life as a permanent responsibility. So, and that's okay. That is perfectly okay. So, delving into this topic because it's controversial, because I get a lot of messages and comments on posts like this with kind of mixed feelings and mixed opinions around it, and that's perfectly okay. Everybody is valid to have their own opinion, and they've lived this themselves, so they can comment on their experience of it, which I love to hear. I love to hear different perspectives and people's different opinions about it. I think it's valid to listen to all sides. But for some people share that bringing a new pet into their life right after a loss helped them to cope. And I fully respect that. So every grief journey is personal, unique, and independent and personal to each person. But I want to talk about the deeper layers of that choice and gently explore whether it's true healing, or is it a way to avoid the pain of loss. So I think I'm going to open up the floor to talk about this. So, like, let's understand the urge to fill the void that's left after your pet has died. So there's often this deep aching emptiness, and it's absolutely normal. It's human to want to soothe that pain quickly, as we live in a world that's uncomfortable with grief, and we're encouraged to move on and replace instead of feel the emotions. And just like some people, for example, jump into a new romantic relationship after heartbreak, I put my hands up. I've been guilty of that. We sometimes do the same with pets, hoping that the presence of another will fill the absence. But healing doesn't come from filling space, it comes from allowing space. It comes from greeting the space into our lives, allowing that space. And I think that's really, really important to highlight. And how many of you listening, or even have you had experience of this, like similar to what I just shared, that we jump into a new romantic relationship very soon after a breakup? Sometimes it's feel very uncomfortable being alone. Other times it's about we want to try to put a plaster on that wound that's gaping open, the heartbreak, our broken heart. And we want to try and soothe it, to fix it, to do anything to make it feel less painful to what it is. And that is a form of replacing, not feeling or not feeling it. Similarly enough, I will go there, I'm about to go there, why we wouldn't replace a human child. So this is such an important parallel. We would never replace a child who's died. But society treats pet loss differently by minimising it, even though the bond can be just as strong. And I know anybody listening to this podcast is probably not going to argue with me on that point. But if I talk about this specific thing about replacing, we don't replace a human child, there's eyebrows are raised up and go, I can't believe you said that, Louise. But I mean, my dogs were essentially my children, as I've mentioned 100 times. If pets are family, then their loss deserves the same depth of mourning, not a fast track through it. So it deserves the same depth of mourning. Because pets are family. They're integrated into our lives. They're integrated into our family system. They're part of our lives every minute of the day. So if we truly believe our pets are our children, then we must allow ourselves to grieve. To grieve them like we would any child we love deeply. We don't just move on from that kind of love. We move forward with it. I think that's something that's really important to kind of just to ponder on, to let it sink in. Because no matter what anybody says, society will treat pet loss differently to the loss of a human child. They dismiss it, minimise it, it's disenfranchised completely. And we're often laughed at if we say, it's like I've lost my child. But it is. I have lost my child in animal form. And it's just as painful. It can be just as painful. So, bringing a new pet into your life isn't wrong, but like I said really earlier on, the timing matters. A new pet can absolutely bring you joy and purpose. Again, I'm not dismissing that. That is a fact, and I've talked to clients that have said that. But when done too quickly, the grief can become displaced, buried, or projected onto a new pet. So there can be guilt, there can be unrealistic expectations, or, which I've heard quite a lot, there can be resentment of the new pet because they haven't lived up to the expectation of the bond, that intense, amazing, incredible soul connection bond that we've had with the original pet. And then we feel let down, we feel disappointed, and the resentment builds within us. I've seen people feel confused or even more heartbroken when their new pet doesn't fix the pain. It's not the pet's job to heal us. It's our job to honour the grief before we invite a new being into our world. It's our job to do that. Putting all of this pressure and expectation onto the new pet is unfair. So, back to it again, the timing needs to be right. The timing matters. I'm not saying that a new pet can't bring joy and purpose. I'm saying the timing needs to be right. So when the timing does feel right within you, you listen to your gut feeling, You journal on things, you ask yourself over the months, weeks and months after your original pet has died. You really listen to your gut instinct, your intuition. So some of the signs that I've seen when people are ready, when people feel ready to bring a new pet, they've honoured their grief. They've felt it. They've gone through it, not above or below it. They speak of their previous pet with more love than regret, so they can access the joyful, happy memories of their previous pet, and they're not continually going back to the last moments, days, or the last weeks of their original pet's life. They feel open about speaking about their pet that they lost. They feel open. They don't feel like they have to hide it. And then that they want to form a new connection. Not recreate the old one, but they want to form a new connection. They want to open their heart to form a new relationship. So they were able to separate the two. So they were able to separate it. They were able to say, this was the relationship I shared with my new pet, for example, Ozzy. This is the relationship I shared with Ozzy. I am still connected to Ozzy. I have a spiritual connection to him. I receive signs from him. I journal to him. I talk to him. He helps me through my life. But I'd like to create a new relationship. I feel like there's some space in my heart and I would like to open up to create a new one. And that's what I've been able to do when I foster. I know I can tell myself I'm not going to compare, because I still have this gorgeous relationship with Ozzy, but I would just like to open my heart and, form a new relationship, a new connection with a new pet, which I understand this pet is going to be completely different personality, quirks, energy, everything. And I'm ready for that. So going back to the signs again, that you've honoured your grief, that you can speak about your pet without that deep pain or that regret, that you feel open and not desperate to kind of heal, not desperate to get a new pet and crazily looking on all the rescue sites, and that you feel open with this knowingness that you're done a lot of healing, that you're ready, and that you know that you want to form a new connection, not create the old one. So that you felt your grief, and by whatever way you've grieved, whether that's crying, whether that's journaling, whether that's walking in nature and just letting it all go, whether that's going to a specialist or professional, speaking about your grief, getting support through it, whether that's with groups or one-to-one, whether that's dealing with it with your partner, with your friend, just that you've spoken about it, you've felt it, you've gone through the waves of grief. And you still grieve every now and then, that's all right. But that you've done that, and that now that you want to not recreate, that you just want to form a new connection, and that you feel ready to do that. So I think that's important. There's no shame about this topic, it's just curiosity. So everyone is doing their best with their broken heart when it comes to the death of their pet. And this isn't about judgment, it's just about asking the question, am I trying to bypass grief, or am I truly ready to open my heart again? It's a simple question, and I'd like to nearly end the podcast on that, to ask yourself, write this down in your journal as a journal prompt. Am I trying to bypass grief, or am I truly ready to open my heart again to a new pet? I think that's so important. And also, it's important to kind of mention that you're going to get comments from people. I have had this happen to me. And I've spoke about this before, and people will say, you can just get another pet, like, you know, just get another cat, get another dog, get another horse, whatever animal is in your life, and like, sure, you'll be grand then. And then you try, like, you think, well, that's what everyone does, so maybe I will be fine if I just do that. But our pets are these unique souls who shared our lives and shared our hearts in ways that can't be replicated. And you know that. You know that deep down, you know that. And when people say things like that, they can unintentionally dismiss your grief and the depth of your grief that you shared with your pet. So, like, something I wrote in my post that I'll read out, if you're unsure what to say, try saying something similar like, I'm sorry, I know how much they meant to you. That's if you're struggling to know the right thing to say to someone who has lost a pet. That kind of compassion makes the world a difference. So it's just to be gentler with each other. And remember that healing starts from within, not through substitution. A new pet can bring you joy. I am not dismissing that. I'm not arguing that. But they can't erase the pain of loss. It's a very heavy burden to put on them. The timing has to feel right in your heart, not rushed by the discomfort of grief or pressure to move on. So, if you're sitting with these questions right now, listening to this podcast, or wondering why the pain is still so heavy, even with a new pet in your life, if you do have a new pet in your life, then the book I wrote really is created for you. It's a kind of companion. It's not a prescription. It won't tell you what to do, but it will hold space for what you're feeling. And it's a gentle, understanding companion for this tender time, wherever you're at in your pet loss journey. And it won't rush you, it won't tell you how to move on. It just meets you where you are, and it's filled with compassion and honesty and hope for the future, of the new chapter of your life now, because your life is different, and that's okay. But yeah, I will leave it there. And I will say this one more time, because this will be the third time. This week's journal prompt for you to work on, which this is a new thing I'm going to start doing hopefully, is, am I trying to bypass grief? Or am I truly ready to open my heart again? Journal on it. Whatever comes up, just write it all down on a piece of paper. Get it out of your mind and onto the paper. If you're struggling to know when you're ready, journal, journal, journal. I'll shout it from the rooftops. It's the name of the podcast, the Pet Loss Journals. But you've heard enough from me today. I want to wish you, wherever you are, a good morning, afternoon or evening. And if it's a good day, I'm happy. If it's a bad day, I'm with you in it. I'm here. There's lots of other episodes. Work your way through them when you're ready. It might help. It might give you support. It might help you to feel validated. But yeah, the link for the book is in the show notes. Take a look at it. See if it feels right for you, if you're guided to buy it. Always listen to your gut. Listen to your intuition. Until next week, take care.